All right, somebody wanted a fire tutorial. Now, I was going to make a whole animation to prove my point, but I'm going to be honest with you. I did this like 3 times already, basically a fire tutorial, and it's usually the same explanation every single time. Um, yeah, so let's grab some stuff right quick. Nurture body, spear. Let's go to my slashes, actually. Oops. Slash, there we go. Now, if we go to the electric slash, and I believe it's /4, if you're wondering why I'm grabbing electric slashes and stuff, it'll make sense in a second. So, I made these two recently. I didn't have them before. I made them. So I'm going to play them out after making them a different size. There we go. That's one. And for the second one, I will do this one. All right. I'm going to let them play. This is how they look at my normal frame rate, by the way. So, as you can see, it's generic ellipse stuff. As I told you before, I usually, when I do this, I usually just use ellipse. So that same thing I told you about with the whip tutorial, apply it here if you want a specific circular angle, if you will. All right. Now, the reason why I grabbed electric stuff, when it comes to fire, right? Especially in the form of a slash and not a still object, if you will, or entity in the animation, you can kind of just use any method for making a normal slash and just add fire based colors. For instance, /1, which is the giant arc, if you will. If I go to electric /5, right, I'm gonna change the color just for the sake of, yeah, do that so you can actually see it. It's kind of the same premise all the time. It's usually just a giant arc, and then they go away. You get me? Basically, it's usually for fire. You just kind of want to do the same thing you do for everything else. In my case, and just change up the colors. That's it. If I had to give you an ideal color palette to go by, obviously red, orange, and yellow would be the most useful colors. Black would be for smoke, and a little bit of white to indicate something is really hot. That's it. It's the same thing for everything, by the way. It's the same way for sideward slashes as well. So if I go to /2, it would be the exact same premise. And let's grab /3 for electric. It would be the exact same premise in which I use an ellipse and just change some stuff or change some stuff around, right? As you can see, very simple, but it works. You get me? It works, but it's the same exact thing. Just use an ellipse, change up the colors, and it essentially just copy someone's homework but change it up so the teacher doesn't notice. It's a very simple concept. Now if you're wondering how I made it exactly, I will actually go into the thing itself, but I'll go with only the fire ones as to not confuse people. Right, now let's go to edit and duplicate. I always go to duplicate because if I go to the original, it will change up the original, and I don't want that. Now all we have to do is grab an ellipse, turn it sidewards, make it big. As you can see, it's already lining up, isn't it? It's already lining up. And this is what I did after making it see-through. This is all I did. And then I just trace around the edges. Now this one's a little bit rougher because this isn't the exact ellipse I used, but you get the point. Basically, whenever I want to make an animation, I'll put an ellipse to make the starting point for every single one, even in the other one. So let's actually go out. Let's actually go back. Yep. And let's go to the first one, this one. And once again, we go to duplicate and we go here. This is where I actually put the ellipse. This part is just a startup frame. From there, I put the ellipse. It really doesn't matter. But for here, I use something called a center circle. Let me grab it. Once again, it's a stick figure I made just for the sake of convenience. It's really just a circle with a square in it, right? All I do is make it the size I want, center it, oops, center it, and then make it clear. And now anything inside there, now everything else is traced. So yeah, I think you get the point. essentially, if I want something to be specific, right? If I want to make a fire-based slash, I simply use the same method and change up the colors every single time. Now, the only time you would actually have to worry about the technique in which you're animating for elements is when you are doing specific moves that don't correspond with the physics of that element. For instance, we all know that fire coming out of a jet booster is going to come out relatively straight and with a distinct shape, right? But electricity coming out of a jet booster does not work that way. Instead, it goes all over the place and conducts on whatever can conduct it. So basically, if I was to give you a distinct look and go to my explosions, mini explosion to be exact, if I was going to make something jet-like, this is how I would do it, right? This relatively lines up with the physics of the real world when it comes to fire coming from a source, right? Boom, boom, boom. See? But if it's electricity, it would be a little bit different in the form of, let's say, let's go with stab. Which one? This one will do. As you can see here, still comes from a source, but I have to kind of make it go everywhere instead of it just coming straight from the source and sticking together. Still a distinct shape, but you can kind of tell it's still somewhat electricity. You know what I mean? Basically, the only time you would have to like really think about how you're moving an element is when you are making a specific move. All right? That's when you would start applying physics. For instance, I could make a slash out of fire and make all the particles disappear just anywhere, or same thing for electric. But when it comes to weight has to be actually applied because water cannot just float and disappear. It kind of falls to the ground and disappears. Well, not really, but in animation terms, yeah. All right. Basically, if I was to do the fire slash, let's say this one, for instance, right? I would just change all of this blue, right? Get rid of some of the extra stuff to it. But at the end, when it dissipates, I would actually make all of the small things fall to the ground. That's it. Um, then another thing. Oh yeah, another thing. Might as well, since I'm right here anyway. I'm gonna open something. So, I was working on something, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So I've tried making some new stuff with part of something because I keep dropping the series. I'm gonna be honest with you, Chief. It's not working out. I don't know what to do. I have no idea how I want to animate this. I don't want it to be just a mediocre 2D animation. And by the way, I'm not saying that 2D animations are mediocre. I'm just saying that I want something better. But I just don't know what to do. I'm gonna have to keep working on it and take suggestions from you guys again, or stick with what I'm used to. All right, see you guys.